Hey there, Internet! Keav here, and welcome to the Cars Geek YouTube channel. And why am I so happy? Well, foam cannons make me happy. Of course, ones that actually foam really well. But this is the Bear Force foam cannon. Found on Amazon. I was looking around. At the time I bought it, it had like a 5-week turnover, or 4-week. And that's about how long it took to get here. Obviously, you know where it came from. It comes from China. Right now, currently, I think it's like a 3-week wait to get one. Based on all the data I have, this is currently number 2 to the SB 3.0. This is only a couple of things short of being amazing, like crazy. Before we get to the foam, it's like $38.99. Full stainless steel weighted ball, suction tube that's very, very flexible. That knob on top, obviously, it'll eat into your hand. It's that same one that everybody uses. It has the quick connect on the back that you can tighten down and loosen via just your hand. The 1.25 that comes in this is stamped 1.25 on the head. You can see it. I'll show you here in a minute. We'll get a close look at it. The 1.1 that comes with it, stamped. Just really nice. Hopefully it's better than the last one I got, last foam cannon, where both orifices were the same. Really, there was no difference between the two. Now the plastics on this aren't as good a quality as MJC. This is very durable plastic. Now the MJC, this bottle is much stronger. The material is less flimsy. But a lot of people believe with this type of plastic, if it does drop, it's easier to crack. And we'll find out in another video. I think I want to do a drop test of all of my clear foam cannon bottles, and we're just going to see how durable they are. I'm going to drop them from every height that you can think of. Stainless steel isn't magnetic. I mean, there's aluminum, but you could tell the difference between most stainless steel and most aluminum. But yeah, we don't got nothing. The ball at the bottom, nothing. This right here is the Achilles heel of griots. The old weighted ball on there is just zinc plated steel. And that ain't gonna last inside of a humid bottle. Now, a lot of people told me about this in the comments, and I checked. I was like, holy crap, you're right. My water is like slightly rusty in color. If you did reach out to Griots, they said that they would replace the ball. So I don't know if they replaced it with a stainless steel one or one that's just more zinc plated. Who knows? Also, the orifice, not magnetic at all. So you see, this manifold is not a manifold that I've really seen too often. Most of them, this is like 4-sided or 5-sided. Very squared off. This usually is much thinner, especially back here. See how thick that is on the edge? The Adams foam cannon is very close to this, but its neck is totally different. But you can see how clear and see-through that is. You can see that hole right there. You know this thing is going to leak. There's no diaphragm. There's no rubber. You see the tension on this. I mean, you see how hard I have to try. Maybe a little bit too much. But how often do you change the horizontal and vertical pattern of your foam cannon? And this one is definitely much easier to move. This is the most stable foam cannon I have. You see that outer rim where all of the weight of the balance is going to go. It has this recess in the middle, and then it kind of bows out, which creates this channel right here for that weighted ball to sit in to get as much of the liquid as possible and to have it stay in that channel. So you see we have a 16-ounce mark here, 32-ounce mark there. We have a dash at every 4-ounce mark. On the opposite side, we have a 500 milliliter mark, and we have the 1,000 milliliter mark way at the top here. And then we have a mark every 100 milliliters. Now, I don't know if this was designed this way, but whoever was ergonomically, pretty cool. Because this little area right here, for my hand, it fits. But if it's full of liquid, it's going to be slightly heavier. My fingers do not get all the way around to where I have like secure hold of this. But that allows me to use this finger up here in these little indentions. So if your size is smaller, you'll be an indention back versus an indention forward. That gives you that control here, and then that little extra bit with your index finger to help you hold it. And then on here, obviously, you have all these little dimples for different size hands to kind of fit into it and get a little bit extra leverage. But just look at that. Solid. It does have 50 milliliters more capacity than the 1,000 that it states. Right here at the line, you can go 50 more. Weight-wise, it's exactly 1 pound. There's only 2 foam cannons that I've ever seen that are less than a pound. The Brilliant Finish from Griots and some of those old Amazon ones that are really cheapy. Now the markings are a little bit harder to see than on some foam cannons, but when it's full of the liquid, they're very visible. Best thing about that clear bottle is just you can see the liquid that's in there. And not just the color. Is it mixed? When you get a bottle that's almost not see-through, how do you know that you have a nice, smooth, even mix in the foam cannon? By being see-through, you can see if you have just gobs of concentrated soap floating around in the water. You won't be able to see that. Another thing about the markings, spot on. 1,000 milliliter mark, 995 milliliters at that 1,000 liter mark. Usually a lot of them are off by 50 milliliters, some are off by more, but this was really, really accurate. It's almost as if somebody has watched a lot of my videos and said, okay, let's go find the catalog at the factory and pick out all the pieces that Keav said to put in the foam cannon. This thing is just making me really happy. I'm going to be really bummed if it doesn't do well in foam. It'll still score high just because of the features, the cost, and all that kind of stuff. So if you'll notice in the back, a pressure washer, it's an Amazon pressure washer. It's called the Faux Ting. I bought it because there's a lot of people tell me about these big boy pressure washers from Australia that we can't get in the United States, and they always tell me about how good they are. That is a direct clone of one of the big boys. That is going to be our 1.1 millimeter Orifice pressure washer. But let me know if you want me to do a video on that. Like I said, it's just kind of like a filler video for down the road whenever I don't have any content to film. So for 1.25 will be that Active 2.0 back there. Before we get any further into the video, check out the links below for any of the products you see in the video. They help fund a lot of the reviews. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get the testing. Well, I'm telling you, this wash setup with these retractable wheels, oh. And this Kevlar hose. Well, I say Kevlar because Kevlar is the popular name. Kevlar is actually the name brand for DuPont's version of the kind of thread that's used in here. So there's no wires in here. This is not magnetic, unlike almost all of your wire braided hoses, which makes this extremely light. They did send this to me. I am going to be doing a video on that, so check out for that soon. Incredible suds. You only need an ounce in a foam cannon to get the same results that you would get at 100 milliliters of G-Technic W4, which is what I was using before. You'll fill this up to 1,000 milliliters with when you're using the 100 milliliters, a 10-to-1 dilution ratio. That would be for the G-Technic. Incredible suds, 1 ounce, and we use the 32 ounce mark, and it's 32-to-1 dilution ratio. When you get this liquid mixed up, that's the one thing I worry about if you're mixing it up. With that little hole in the top, this stuff, and you have the liquid pretty close to the top, it's just gonna want to come out. With that clear bottle, we can clearly see, I definitely see a gob of soap at the bottom. So if you want to use that method where you do this to mix, you're losing product out of the top. That is the biggest problem with this. The thread in this cap, this bottle, doesn't fit anything else that I have. It's kind of its own size. It looks the same as the others, but it's not. Active 2.0, we have our fan set to vertical, which is what I prefer. Oh, wow. Wow. Would you look at that styrofoam looking foam? The opening on the weighted ball is actually quite big. But at the top, it has the smallest opening that I have ever seen in a foam cannon. It's slightly bigger than Automix tips from, say, the Griot's Boss foam cannon. But it's definitely small, and I guarantee that's really helping create some of this foam. Amperage check, we are well over 15 amps in the 16 amp region. That's usually what a 1.1 millimeter does. And the Active 2.0, it's 15 amp. You don't want to go over that. You want to be in that 14 amp range to be safe. And wow, so maybe that's why it was so thick. Maybe that little orifice in here that's at the bottom of the manifold is causing that. But let's put a true 1.25 in there and see what happens. Like I said, this one's only hand tight. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is marked 1.25. So let's pull it out. Nothing makes me madder than when stuff is mislabeled. Let's put the 1.1 in there and run it again and see if it's the same. Maybe they're the exact same size. That 1.1 was well into the 17 amp range. We're just going to use the orifice that's in the MJJC. Is it a marketing gimmick to say that it's those sizes and it not be? To make the foam seem better than it is, but you're definitely pushing your machines beyond the limit. Yep, they're definitely off. That 1.25 put me in that 14.5 range that I'm usually at on the active with that size. So what they came with, I think the 1.1 is probably accurate. I think the 1.25 is probably like a 1.15. I was really happy that it was stamped, but now, I mean, it's stamped and it's wrong. So now that we have a true 1.25, let's see what happens. I still think it's going to be really good foam. Okay, we're back to earth now. Definitely slightly runnier, but still good foam. This is good foam. We're getting the dimpling. The dimpling isn't as defined, but definitely better than most with a true 1.25 on the active. I'm definitely not as excited, but the foam's still pretty good. We're going to have to ding it from some points in some areas because of the inaccuracy of the orifice sizes. This has that true 1.25. See what it does. I mean, it foams, but it is really, really runny. I'll tell you what, that's got a pretty decent sound. It's not too loud. It almost sounds like an induction motor. So here's those two orifices. You can see they're stamped 1.1 and 1.25. Obviously, we know the 1.25 is not that. I think the 1.1 is, but let's put it in there. Oh yeah, we're really good on amps there. So the 1.1 on the faux ting. We definitely have dimpling. It's definitely nice and thick. It's starting to pull down a little bit. Well, I'm definitely not as excited as I was earlier, but this is still a solid second place. I just can't foam anywhere near the MJJC level. Very few can. So foam 7.5, bottle 8.6, because there's so many good things about the bottle. Function 7.3, there's so much going on there with the weighted ball and everything. Everything's just really nice. The cost 7.0, the quality 7.9, and it does score slightly lower because of the plastics aren't as good. It did score crazy high innovation 7.1, but weighted ball, the bottle, all that kind of stuff kind of adds to that. So that still puts it at 76.3, second place to the SV 3.0 by MJC at 77.1. The next ones are obviously the Griots, the Pro V2, and you know, the Atoms. How long will it be before we see a new number one? I'm thinking the Pro V3 from MJC, which I've been told is now going to be 2024. I'm thinking February, March. They didn't tell me exact time, but they did tell me they're delayed into 2024. We had thought into this year. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check the links below. See you in the next video. Now, a lot of people told me in the comments on the, now a lot of people told me on the previous, now the markings are a little bit harder to see than on some of them. Before we get any further, oh my gosh. Before we get, so check out the links below for oh my god. Before we get any, oh my gosh. Before we get any further, Before we get any further to the, wow, I've totally lost it. Soon, because I think it's going to be test. That one was, oh my gosh. So the next one needs to be a drive. So we're going, oh my gosh, you totally lost it. So before we get, this next one needs to be very spiritual. Since the last,